moving on, great article from the Content Marketing Institute on their website. Why your content budget keeps getting rejected and what pitch works. So it's a really fascinating article that essentially talks about the perspective of basically the C-suite. So the CEO of a company, president of a company, managing partners they're not marketers, generally speaking. They understand marketing and its function, but generally might see it as kind of like a line item in the budget. And content marketing is even deeper in that. So content marketing usually doesn't get its own separate line in most budgets. It's just bundled in the marketing and, it's digital marketing, or maybe the SEO person's doing it, or, whomever, we have an in-house copywriter or whatever, and it just gets kind of lumped in. And so what I think the key points in this article that really kind of resonated with me was how marketing leaders have a very kind of short attention for content. And often, many times, they don't realize the content can be absolutely, and there's different types of content, but it can be tied to outcomes and long-term goals. And sometimes it's viewed like, if the content isn't driving immediate visitors or immediate outcomes or immediate conversions or immediate leads right now, then it's not an effective place to invest. And I think that that's a very flawed way of thinking. And I believe that's what this article was trying to get to, was to help kind of educate C-suite a little bit more to say, hey, don't just give up on your content. And then on the flip side, as a practitioner, someone that is responsible, maybe in-house, for trying to get approval to, C-suite to say, hey, we need you to, we think this is a good recommendation. And then, a manager might say, well, our sales are down. That's all they care about. Sales are down last quarter. How is this going to help us do that, right? And so I think it's a great article in the Content Marketing Institute. So I recommend everyone go and read it. But yeah, Catherine, John, what do you guys think on this one?
With marketing, you need C-suite buy-in in order for you to really get the resources that you need to get your job done. But how is that achieved? So for me, it is really understanding what outcomes the C-suite cares about for the business as a whole, and then making the case for positioning how marketing helps those happen. Now, there's a lot to unpack there because not every marketing department even does this. Some do, everybody should. So marketing and business outcome needs to be in alignment in order to get the content budget, for example, approved. Mm-hmm. For a lot of marketers, this is already well understood and it's a thing. And now all they need is to get their budget approved. And how is this achieved? Well, I have seen many, many times that marketing departments that have had an easier time getting their budget approved have played the long game with their C-suite. And even just thrown into casual conversation, almost like an elevator pitch of a statement, to help position marketing as being helpful for driving the outcomes that the C-suite cares about. So it's this whole loop, and it's this whole strategy that needs to happen. And I thought this article was great because it highlighted some of the things that we need to care about in order to get the budgets approved. And it's a good thing. But I have seen this over and over again, that it's an issue.
Yeah. Remember, people, digital marketing is at a high level, is short and long-term at the same time, right? You need the short-term approach to help you achieve your outcomes and goals in the short now, but you also have to have one eye on the future. Because if you don't have one eye on the future, and this goes way above content marketing, right? Yeah. If you don't have the one eye on the who's calling, the playbook, right? Looking long-term at the plays, then, you're not going to be able to achieve your outcome in a sustained manner. And so I think, and again, that's something that we see quite a bit too. It's people are so focused on oh my goodness, I need to advertise. I need to get results now, that they often overlook the long-term ramifications of all these channels. Because, we've seen it over and over and over again. And it's not going to be the last time where one channel of digital marketing works great until it doesn't. So you have to continue to test, evolve, and continue to build your whole ecosystem of how you drive your business. So,
Yeah.
John, what do you think on this one? We'll
the
move
problem
on.
is that it's like it's really hard to tell somebody exact numbers on how, whether it's short term or long term, how this will be good for them, right? Imagine if I came up to you and I said, I want to revamp Brick Marketing Live. We need to build a studio. We need to build a lighting rig. We need nice cameras, this, and that. We need $25,000 to do it. You're going, whoa, hold on a minute. How are we going to make $25,000 back? And it's hard to over something so long term to be able to say yes, and here's how that's going to happen.
Not from this podcast. Actually, we were joking beforehand that apparently I'm going to tell everyone because I think it's funny.
That's fun.
That we're number 165 on the podcast charts in Sweden. I just thought it was funny in business podcasts. So anyway, there's that. I'll just leave that, and people can do whatever they want with that. Anyway, but no, you're totally right, funny. John. That's a great analogy. It really is.
Yeah.